Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to join my presentation. My name is Yasmin Hadias Priyani, and in this afternoon, I would like to present you a bibliometric analysis on the research trend and gaps in developing multiple assessment for measuring science literacy and critical thinking level. In recent years, there has been a growing emphasis on the need to improve science literacy and critical thinking skills among students. This emphasis is driven by the realization that these skills are essential for individuals to be successful in today's rapidly changing world. However, despite efforts to enhance science literacy and critical thinking skills, there is still a significant gap in the achievement of these skills among students. This gap is based on the evidence in data from Indonesian students' competency assessment, which shows that a majority of Indonesian students' scientific literacy falls within the low category, about 73.61%, with only a small percentage in the middle category for about 25.38%, and the rest in the high category. Additionally, the Program for International Students Assessment results from 2015 indicate that the average score of Indonesian students' scientific literacy is significantly lower than the average score of scientific literacy in the other OECD countries. Scientific literacy and critical thinking become the essential skills that students need to navigate the complexities of the modern world. Over the past few decades, there has been a growing recognition of the importance of science literacy and critical thinking in education. In order to address the research gaps and trends in developing multiple assessment for measuring science literacy and critical thinking levels, we conducted a bibliometric analysis. The aim of this analysis was to examine the current state of research in this area and identify the key trends, gaps, and area for future development. In doing this bibliometric analysis, there are 5 steps used. We start the analysis by defining the aims and the scope of study by using prompt. The prompt that we are using was developing multiple assessment to measure science literacy and critical thinking. The research method utilized in this study was bibliometric analysis, which involved analyzing articles from the Google Scholar database. As the result, there were 200 articles found, and in the next step, we refined the search. After refinement, we collected 81 articles to be analyzed. The VOSviewer software was used to classify and analyze the research trend based on the keywords such as developing multiple assessment to measure science literacy and critical thinking. The study used a known knowledge mapping and network visualization to explore the bibliometric structure and intellectual structure of specific research field. The data for the study was obtained from the extraction of title, keywords, and abstracts from articles using the complete count method. The minimum number of keyword occurrence determined was 5. And then, additionally, the relevance of each keyword to the research topic was calculated, and the relevant keywords were subsequently grouped into clusters. The use of bibliometric can be said to be new in the world of the research, but in the last decade, for about 10 years of publication using bibliometric, it has grown to 1,021 articles and have become a new, more promising literature review method that can replace the classic review method. The keyword development of multiple assessment based on science literacy and critical thinking was used to retrieve the data set from Google Scholar database in the range of recent research year for 2018 to 2023. Based on the analysis that being conducted by using the Publish or Perish application, Publish or Perish 8 application, we have found that for about 5 years, research years, there are about 200 articles have been collected, and after the refinement, there are 81 articles to be analyzed. And there are about 245,313 citations for these 5 years. And after the refinement, there are only 30,506 citations. For citation per year, after the refinement, we found about 6,101.20 citations for each year. And in each article, there are about 376.62 sites for each author. And we can see that the H index is 74, while the G index is 81, and the HI annual is 11. So after we found the article, then the next steps is we are try to find the research trend by using the application of VOSviewer. The bibliometric analysis basically will analyze a data set through 2 stages, namely performance analysis and a science mapping. Performance analysis will consider the contribution of research constituents, which will then map based on the relationship between research constituents. The key findings on the study are related to the clusters from relevance keyword. From a total of 655 relevant keywords, 22 were found to occur at least 5 times each. Upon evaluating their relevance to the subject of the development, 13 keywords were identified as having more than 60% relevance and were grouped into 3 clusters. The largest one, red, is closely tied to the research on development of multiple assessment based on science literacy and critical thinking. And it includes keywords like 20% skills, critical thinking skills, data, model, reasoning, science literacy. The next cluster, which is green, includes keywords relevant to the concepts, creative thinking, effects, and learning aspect of the development. While the smallest cluster, which is blue, it includes the keyword related to the testing, research, and study. The relative frequency of this keyword occurrence in different publications was also detailed. And then for the next, the result that we found is about, we can see from the picture on the screen that the color of the cluster indicates of how much this discussion taking place on the subject. We can see that it is clear that the yellow cluster, which includes research, model, and critical thinking skill, is a topic that being discussed frequently at this moment. While the more evenly distributed the keyword is, the more frequently it is used in the research subject. This depiction is very important to identify research that has not been done so that a research update can be carried out. The figure beside shows that the keyword tasks, research, and learning have the highest density compared to other keywords. It means that the research nowadays is related with the task, learning, and the research itself. So, based on the analysis that we done, we see that there is the need for the development of the new assessment instrument. The bibliometric analysis was used in this study to detect and locate the research trend and supporting literature that contribute to the understanding of the current instrument may not have effectively measured student science literacy and critical thinking holistically. That's why there is a significant need for the development of the new assessment instrument in the context of science literacy and critical thinking, especially in the implementation of the Merdeka Curriculum in Indonesia. New assessment instrument need to be developed to assess the student's ability more accurately and comprehensively by integrating the science literacy into the evaluation progress. It is to encourage a deeper understanding of science concepts and improve students' ability to think critically. Nowadays, Indonesia has the new curriculum which called as the Merdeka Curriculum. The Merdeka Curriculum also seeks to provide students with the information and skills needed to understand the scientific process, develop critical thinking, and make informed conclusion about the scientific issues. As the conclusion, the result of this study highlight the urgent need to create assessment tool that emphasize the science literacy and critical thinking as opposed to continue to use outdated knowledge-based tests. Bibliometric analysis plays an important role in the development of assessment tool by providing insight into significant research trends and gaps in the current literature. This analysis helps in collecting and analyzing relevant data from a diverse scientific articles, thus demonstrating the need for innovation in the development of new assessment tools that focus on science literacy and critical thinking. So before I end my presentation, there is one quote from Marian Wright Edelman that education is for improving the life of others and for living your community and the world better than you found it. And then that's all for my presentation in this afternoon. Thank you for your attention.